I think what's wrong with the country today is there are no third places to hang out. No one can do anything other than look at their phones, be angry at the news, go to protests, go to counter protests. Those are now the third places, is the internet and protests. When I was growing up in the 90s, there were malls. Now those malls are just like, they're the equivalent of the pyramids. They're abandoned. They look like somebody's buried there. Like there's only like 2 stores. One of them is Subway. I don't know how that Subway actually stays open, but the Subway in every mall does. Growing up, I mean, if I was bored, I didn't have a phone, I would walk to the mall, or my parents would drop me off at a different mall. And there was so many things to do. And I want to go through all of them. The first thing is the mall cafeteria, because that is where you went to hang out. There was no admission. There was no wait staff. You weren't pressured to order anything. So if you were broke like me, you could sit with your friends who had spending money, and I would watch them eat. It was fun. We would hang out. We would talk. We would joke. And then after we would eat, we would get up and go to Spencer's Gifts. That was a place where you could go. And the cool thing about the mall is it had every sensory experience you could have. Every store had a sensory experience. Every mall area had a sensory experience. So in the cafeteria, you had the Chinese food, you had sandwiches, you had I can't remember, Sbarro. Those were all great kind of restaurants you could smell and see and eat and taste. And then when you walked to one area of the mall, then you had Auntie Anne's that was pumping out pretzel smell, and that smelled good. Walked to another area, that was Cinnabon. It was pumping out cinnamon smells, and that was a wonderful thing. And then you got to Spencer's Gifts, and they had interesting incense smells that me and my friends thought were illicit substances, but it turns out they were just really cheap incense candles. And we'd walk around. The way Spencer's Gifts was set up is it had like normal things in the front to lure you in, and then it got crazier as you went in the back. And that's where I found out what illicit toys were, and we just look at them and laugh. And they had crude jokes, like a guy on a toilet was for some reason a gift you could get somebody. It was just literally a plastic guy sitting on a toilet. I think if you pressed a button, he farted or something. But that was good for a laugh. And we do a loop around Spencer's Gifts, touching everything, laughing. I don't think we ever bought anything there. I don't know who did, but we would walk out, proceed to the skateboard store or the skate shop or something like that. It had cool skateboards on the wall, cool skate shirts. We would rifle through those. That would be something I might buy something at. Everyone my age had a skateboard. Nobody my age was good at it, but we liked the idea of skateboarding. We liked taking the boards and wearing the shirts and the shoes and using the lingo. But when we get on the board, we'd immediately fall down. And the skate shop also had its own smell. It was whatever the workers were smoking at the time. So then we would walk over to Walden Books. There was a lot of good books there. Back then, books were interesting, I guess, because you had Goosebumps. You had, I guess, Twilight a little bit later. You had Stephen King books. Those were all pretty interesting, and I don't even know what is out today. I am not interested in it. But back then, books were like in the popular culture. And that had its own smell. It smelled like new books, which smelled really good. So much so that I still get nostalgic for bookstore smell. I'll pop into a Barnes & Noble whenever I see one just to get a whiff of that. And then we would walk over to the arcade. When I was a kid, it was the waning era of the arcade. But you walk in and it's like Vegas for kids. Like lights are blaring, things are going off, random sounds. People are like sweaty, pushing buttons. Crowds are gathering around the sweaty people pushing buttons, cheering them on, waiting for their turn, or just really impressed by the way one kid presses buttons. Back then, if you could press buttons in a certain way, people's minds were blown. You were like a hero. And then we would make a loop, see what the games were, and maybe we would play a couple if we had $1 or quarters or whatever they cost. And then after that, we would go to, like those clothes stores, the PacSun and Hollister, and those had smells of cologne and crazy music blaring. So it was like we traveled to another dimension whenever we walked in different areas of the mall. So we'd walk in Hollister, walk around, look at the girls, see what they're looking at, make a loop there, and then proceed to, where did we go? There was one other store. Oh, Sharper Image. That had all the technology you think would be around in 2026. Stuff that no one would ever want or think they needed, but it was there for you to look at. So we would look at the futuristic massager and the foot bath that has lights. There weren't even LED lights. I think they used an actual light bulb for the foot bath. The robot dog that could talk to you. You could play with it, and we would make a loop over there, and everyone there was very serious, I remember. And then we go to Radio Shack. For some reason, I think because they had remote controlled cars and stuff. I don't know. I don't know what the appeal of Radio Shack was. I wasn't like a tech guy or knows anything about that, but we would go. Oh, and then we would go to the computer games, the computer store, which I think was called CompUSA. We would go there, look at all the computer games, and oh man, back then computer games were like this big in the box, and you turn it around, you see everything, and then you see like the demos of the games, you see the new TVs, because those were also at CompUSA. Man, that was great. It just smelled like computers and nerds. It was pretty awesome. And then we would go to whatever was the video store at the time. It was either and the music store at the time. Those were usually combined. It was either Sam Goody or FYE, and you could look at the music and pretend you were cool. And then you would pick out a CD and take it to the counter, and you were just hoping that the cashier, who was like somebody with piercings and wacky hair, would go, "Nice one, man." But that never happened. They would just be like, "All right, here's your Hanson CD." Yeah, and then we'd walk out, and so much time had passed. And the whole time we're laughing, we're joking, we're doing something. Never in my 18 years while enjoying this third place did I ever worry about politics or worry about the world or worry about what people thought of me. But we need to bring him back. I don't care what we can do. Maybe you need to charge admission. Maybe everything in that store could be free or something. And like an Amazon thing with the bands. Maybe we could just set these up and have kids walk through them and be able to explore with their friends. I don't know. Or the state government should fund them. I mean, keep them open. We need kids to have something to do, somewhere to walk around. Then they will grow up to be less like iPad kids and less like really online weirdos. So that's my vote. Let me know in the comments what you think and what stores I missed. Thanks so much.